Welcome to the Management Minute, presented by ManagingScrupulosity.com. Helpful pastoral guidance intended to encourage the effective management of your OCD and scrupulosity. St. Thomas Aquinas, one more question. I've always enjoyed the traditional story told about St. Thomas Aquinas, the great scholastic and systematic theologian and doctor of the Church. According to the story, or at least the way that I remember it, one day he looked at all that he had written and summed up his effort by observing, "All of it's nothing more than straw." According to the story, from that moment of insight on, he declined to write any more and died soon after. As a result of his decision, his great work of theology, the Summa Theologica, remained unfinished. Great commentators on the lives of the saints have observed that this insight and this conclusion was the direct result of a mystical revelation that the saint received. The power of the revelation was so intense that it made all of his effort in comparison seem to be common and ordinary, not unlike a bale of straw, which would have been something that people of his day and time would have routinely encountered. Of course, his many admirers would strongly disagree with him that his efforts amounted to a bale of straw, but it does not change the story or the outcome. I do not intend to diminish the great saint's mystical experience, but I would suggest there also is another possible perspective. From one point of view, it seems that a promise of systematic and scholastic theology was that if a person could ask all of the correct questions and secure all of the necessary answers, such an effort might eventually arrive at a point where all could be explained and understood, if not comprehended and appreciated. This systematic process was based on an operative assumption that there was a limited number of questions, and by extension, a limited number of answers. St. Thomas asked the big questions about God, the meaning of the universe, and other questions and mysteries, and it seemed, no matter how hard he tried, that he never reached the end of the string of questions that might provide the ultimate answer. The questions that he was asking, despite the promises of the systematic system, were simply not answerable. He slowly understood that a person would never be able to exhaust the questions, and certainly never exhaust the wonder and the mystery that he encountered. He came to understand the futility of his effort and contented himself with embracing the mystery and the wonder, leaving both questions and answers behind. There is probably more than one theologian, not to mention more than one Dominican, who might challenge my insight. I'm not attempting to dismiss or marginalize the effort of the saint, but rather make an essential point. In a sense, scrupulous people are not unlike the great St. Thomas, sometimes lured into a dogged belief and promise that all of their questions can be answered if enough effort is applied. Unfortunately, and it does not take the privilege of a mystical experience to understand that this is a fundamental error. There are simply not enough answers to the questions that are generated by the scrupulous condition to satisfy those who pursue the path of trying to seek the definitive answer. No matter what your efforts might be, no matter how dedicated you may be in your pursuit, the result will be the same. You will never run out of questions, and you will never receive the ultimate answers that you seek. What will be revealed is mystery, wonder, and even a sense of awe. You need only to benefit from the experiences of those who have gone before you and who have tried their best to ask all the questions and seek all the answers, to embrace this truth and to apply this lesson. Perhaps a much better approach is to give up the search for the ultimate and satisfying answer and learn rather to embrace the mystery. It may seem like strange advice to suggest that a person should learn how to embrace the mystery of scrupulosity, but I think it's good advice. Assume the position of an observer when your scrupulosity is manifested, instead of the position of a combatant or a person who mightily struggles with the disorder. Observe rather the power of the obsessive thought, the power of the compulsion, and try to feel rather than to deny the feeling of what you're observing. Embrace the wonder and mystery of how the disorder is manifested. This does not mean that you become tossed around by the disorder, or that you're somehow cooperating with the thoughts that may occur, and then somehow responsible for sin, but rather that you experience the disorder in order to learn what it teaches you. It is in learning, rather than in denial, that you acquire the skills that you need to better manage the disorder. Scrupulosity is not managed by answering questions or seeking answers to each doubt. It's managed by acknowledging that what is of most importance is the feeling, the emotional, rather than the intellectual response. If scrupulosity could be managed or even cured by the answer to a question, most scrupulous people would no longer suffer from the disorder, since so many scrupulous people have been diligent in their questioning and in searching for answers. Seek rather to manage and to temper the feelings and the emotions of the disorder, and you will discover much more peace and comfort, the manifestation of the grace of God in your life. If you wish to learn more about this topic, please refer to the citation that we have provided. Please visit YouTube at Catholic OCD for a variety of video presentations on important topics. If you wish to support this ministry, please visit the funding platform at patreon.com, also at Catholic OCD.